Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the CHI paper, Bystanders of Online Moderation, examining the effects of witnessing post-removal explanations. And my co-authors on this paper are Himanshu Rathi and Koustuv Saha. So to provide some background about this paper is about the content moderation systems, which are systems designed by social media platforms to regulate inappropriate user behaviors, such as hate speech, violent content, and spam. And content moderation systems impose measures like removing content, muting, and blocking offenders to regulate inappropriate user behaviors. And these systems are increasingly using AI-driven moderation tools to achieve this. This paper specifically focuses on the concept of transparency in content moderation. Here, transparency implies opening up the working procedures not immediately visible to those not directly involved to demonstrate the good working of an institution. And we focus here on transparency in end users' experiences with moderation processes. More specifically, we focus on the idea of offering removal explanations to users whose posts have been removed or deleted by moderators. And the context here is the platform Reddit, where moderators often offer these comments and replies to the submissions which have been removed. For example, here is a comment posted by an automatic moderator bot, which tells the user that their posts have been removed because they broke a specific rule of the community in which the post was submitted. So why do these explanations matter? How do these explanations affect the users who have been sanctioned? We have done a lot of prior research prior to this particular paper, which focus on that particular question. For example, we conducted a survey of users whose posts had been removed. And our survey analysis found that when users receive an explanation for their removed posts, it improves their attitudes about the content moderation process. And they also have a better attitude about how they will post in the future. We also conducted a log analysis of thousands of posts with and without removal explanations. And we found that when users receive an explanation, they tend to show a better behavior in the future. So these studies together establish the relevance of offering removal explanations to users who have been sanctioned. And this current article builds upon that prior research to evaluate the effectiveness or the effects of removal explanations on bystanders who may not be sanctioned themselves, but who are witnessing these removal explanations. And the research question that we ask here is, do public removal explanations intended for the sanctioned users influence the posting behavior of bystanders to those explanations? So why do we focus on bystanders here? Well, they remain an important stakeholder, and how they think about the fairness of moderation decisions also impact their perceived social norms and their future behaviors. And also focusing on bystanders allows us to examine the impact of indirect experiences with punishment on users' behavior. Let me briefly describe the methods we used in this work. First of all, we collected 85.5 million Reddit posts from two large Reddit communities, AskReddit and Science. And we collected posts submitted between the period December 2021 to December 2022. Here are some descriptive statistics of the submissions and comments that we collected from these two subreddits. We collected all the posts that we could retrieve. And then we established a causal inference approach to answer our research question. And this involved creating both a set of treatment user and control users. Treatment users consisted of users who are bystanders to removal explanations and who had witnessed at least one removal explanation in a period of about 6 months. And then we also had a separate set of control users who never commented in any discussion thread containing a removal explanation, but who posted elsewhere in the same subreddit during the pre-treatment period. Next, we established a set of matched users, matched set of treatment and control users based on certified propensity score matching. And then we tested for the differences that these sets of treatment and control users, matched set of users, showed in their posting frequency, interactivity, and post removal rate. So let's see what we found. First, we found that for both AskReddit and Science subreddits, the set of bystanders or treated users, in our case, became more active after witnessing post-removal explanations as compared to the control users. And we also found that interactivity increased. In other words, bystanders replied more to others' threads and thus enhanced their community engagement in the post-treatment period. What do these results mean? First, it shows that removal explanations help boost the posting frequency. So this, in addition to what we had previously found in our prior research, shows that it is important to provide removal explanations because it can shape the way that people post on these communities. And for any post removal, there is just one user who had posted that submission and who got moderated. But there are potentially many more bystanders to that explanation message. So by showing that these removal explanations can affect the behavior of bystanders, we pose a strong case for how or for why moderators should pay attention to providing them. Next, because we showed that removal explanations help increase the interactivity or the community engagement, this suggests that observing explanations can help users learn the accepted social norms on a community. Um, Finally, we also showed that removal explanations, we did not really notice any impact of these removal explanations on future post removals. And this is in contrast to our prior research findings, which showed that when moderated users themselves are receiving these removal explanations, they show a reduction in future post removals. So there is this discrepancy between the effects of removal explanations on the quality of posts that both moderated users show and what bystanders show. And one possible explanation for this discrepancy is that when moderated users receive such a sanction, they attend to all community guidelines before their next postings, but bystanders might not end up doing that. And that's why they do not show a reduction in the number of post removals that they display in the future, which is an indicator of their posting quality. Overall, our results suggest that explanations must be carefully made by the community moderators and they must be made publicly visible because they can have a positive effect on the bystanders to those explanations. Thank you.